What is going on, guys? So it's another day at the Bearded Panda Fab, or should I say another night? That's right, another night at the Bearded Panda Fab Shop. And we have made some progress. I know you can see the bumper behind me, and what is that? The 2.5 front bumper. Yeah, we finally got a hold of one. It took a little while. We found a really good deal in this one, and it was like pretty much perfect. A few minor little scrapes at the bottom, but who cares? That's something if we need to make another part later, easy to fix. So the last time you saw, I talked about how you can do fleecing to make a body kit, but it doesn't just evolve or just stop there, I guess you could say. Like, you actually have to go and make a plug from the fleecing, and then you're going to make a mold off that plug. So the actual kit that I'm working on, or we're working on, it's not the one that ends up on the car. It's the one that we build the mold off of, it's the plug. And so the last time I showed, I was working on the bumper caps, but now that we got the 2.5 front bumper, we actually managed to get both bumper caps done at the same time. Now, I did have another one for the 2.0, and I know I showed some pictures on that, and guess what? We decided to change it. Not for the bad, but actually for the good, because it makes it more sleek. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's go check it out. Okay, so believe it or not, this was the design originally for the 2.0 front bumper, the TC 2.0. And I initially made this line here to hit the fog light design that sits right here. But you know, kind of looking at it from the front, looks pretty clean, doesn't look bad. But I don't know, like, I mean, of course I still needed to work at straightening this line out a little more. But you know, this was just thrown in primer. Here it is with me trying to finish touching up all the little pinholes. But initially, kind of like wanted to change it. You know, like on this side it didn't look bad. It was just kind of a little bulky on the part. Now, if people still like this one, definitely finish it off and get it straightened out on the lines, on just the finding of the line, and then actually put this one out. If that was a preference, it could even be a special edition that we might offer, and see if people still care to pick that up. Maybe. We're still thinking about it. Of course, it still needs all the rivet points, but that's no big deal. So that's how it looked before on the 2.0. And I'll go ahead and put it on the front bumper just to kind of show you how it looks. But let's go check out the bumpers. Here they are. So we've got the 2.0 and the 2.5. Now, I know you can tell that there's a height difference right here in the background, but it's just because the 2.0 is sitting on a lip where the 2.5 is sitting on just stock bumper. So let's zoom in so you can see what we've got. Okay, so here we are. So this is the now new sleek version of the 2.0. So it still has the same design, and it still follows this fog light line to there. And so you still get to see how like that actually like legitly works. But the difference is now it's sitting flushed and then coming up to the actual fender flare. So yeah, so it's more sleek and it comes up at a nice taper. Now here we go is the 2.5. Oh. So this one also sits real nice and flush. It's a little more aggressive, and it's a very steep arch line, which also still comes out to the 2.5 inch flare. Now, this one also follows body lines, if you can see. It also works off of the fog light line. So it shoots up, comes across, and keeps shooting up, along with this line, which also shoots up and comes through. So this one's a little more on the aggressive side. It does, have like a little section here and tapers down, and then here tapers up, and then of course you've got the nice flat face that sits there. So this one's very cool too. It sits real nice and flush to the lines. We're gonna take the time to take them off tomorrow, sand the top surface down, and start putting the filler on just to get it real nice and clean. So those are the two new caps. I'm gonna pull them off right now. Now I know you're even seeing like this flare, rear flare in the background. Believe it or not, that sucker's changing too. And we'll talk about that more later in the video. But at the moment, we're just talking about bumper caps. Bing, 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 bing. And so, okay, so here are the two 2.0 caps side by side. This one actually sits flush and kind of has a more flush design, where this one sat, I mean, it still came at the right angle, but it did start to become thicker midpoint, but it was just because of this line. So when we set it on top, see how it still has the same design? It just has that really one hard line right there, which also created this arch here at the bottom. Now, I dig it. Some other people do dig it as well, but we don't know if we're gonna make that an option. I'm thinking we will make it an option for people, but at the moment, we're gonna really focus more on these two. First, I'm gonna start with the 2.0. And it should pop off pretty easy. It's just being held on by hot glue. And the reason why I hot glued on is just so that way I guarantee that it keeps the shape of the car or the bumper. So you see, after pulling it off, I can still put it back on and it fits so snugly, or snug-like, snugly-wuggly, something. It fits very nice and snug. No lines were changed or anything like that. So that's why it gets glued on. So there it is. One cap. Let me get the other one to show you. You see, so there is the other cap. It also fits pretty snug as well. It has already the bodywork worked on. I know because of the color of the primer, you can't see it so well, but it also, you see the line just shoots off and then it has like the nice downslope here. Where like this one is just like tapered and smooth all the way through. So side by side wise, that's how it looks. Still very cool. I like it, but this one was just a newer, sleeker look that we wanted to go with. So I'm gonna set that down or put it up and let's pull off the other one. All right. So here's the other one. Let's pull from this corner. Pulling's always scary, just because you don't want to break or mess up anything. And it stinks because I really glue these suckers on to make sure, there we go, to make sure they hold on well. So see, there it is. I always get so excited like actually doing this, and it's neat that I get to be the one to do this, I'm not gonna lie, because it's so neat to see your idea come to life, you know? But there it is. See how it fits nice and flush still regardless? On, bam, off. So there's that new design. There's a side. You wanted to see it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the other ones off, and I'll show you how they look side by side. All right, nicely pulled off, side by side, 2.5, sleek tapered 2.0, and more unique 2.0. So, like I said, we're still debating maybe making those like an option or special edition. Not 100% sure yet. These for sure are like our primary ones now, and I just really dig how they look. I mean, real nice and sleek. So very cool. And then of course the 2.5, very cool as well. Real nice and aggressive. And I feel like it's gonna really go and make that front bumper pop, you know. So there we go. Rando Jason design. And next day, or really, not really next day. It's actually been 2 days later. Still cool, no worries. But I know you noticed this in the back. Now the reason why this tin is here is because I don't have an AC big enough to power this huge warehouse. So what I've done is I've taken the time to throw a tint back here, and that way all my materials like dry the way they should. No humidity really gets in. I mean, there's, of course, you have little cracks here and there. I didn't tape it up to like 100% seal it up, but it's still enough to like make sure it stays nice and cool. Let's go look inside, see what's actually in here. I know you can see the car. And what is it? Right there. It's the new flares. Now, I know, like I've shown in the past videos, that I've already made flares, but you know what? Orlando and I kind of went through it, and we're like, you know what? Let's perfect this a little better. That's the whole game of this, or the whole name of the game, is continue to go and perfect it so you guys get a quality part that looks really cool. So let's check out this front new flare design. So here they are. So we've sharpened up some lines. Of course, this top arch is still the same because I did all the mathematical equations to actually get that arch just right. So we look at it from front. It comes right above this body line that shoots across, just a hair over, so it sits nice and flush to the car. But all in all, it's there. Now, it's already hard, as you can see, so the fleece hardens as we put the epoxy resin on. Of course, we brought this front part of the fender forward, so that's the exact measurement of the true Scion TC fender face. So we pretty much just brought it forward. And then the back. So here's the back, real nice sharp line, and then flushes out towards the end. So this is about 1.5 millimeters to where it flushed out, where the one before, the point came all the way to the end, and it just didn't look as great as I would have liked. And then here, this part sits flush. And then of course, kind of comes out to this body line and cups the front. I'll get another angle in just a bit. I'll go around. And then of course, these wheels are nice little mock-up wheels for now. We just wanted to kind of change up the feel. Got the nice bearded panda logo there. And I am going to have a video on that, believe it or not, is Plasti Dip. The rims are Chikara rims. This is an 18 by 9.5 with a plus 20 offset. Of course, I'm still running the 2.5 inch spacer because this is a 2.5 inch fender flare. So believe it or not, it's been pushed from the face of the fender out to the new face of the flare fender, 2.5 inches. And the rear, which you don't see on there just yet, is 3 inches. So of course, you know, that is some pretty wide offsets, but it's gonna be pretty legit when it's on. And of course, you'll probably need either spacers or some really cool 2-3 piece wheels. So this is what it looks like. So I usually let it cure for one more day, just to make sure it's good and solid and no humidity takes over the fleece. I'll probably come over, do a light sand, and then throw another layer of epoxy on it. So that way it gets a real good hard feel. But all in all, not bad. Now let me go around so that way you can see how it looks at a different angle. So voila, there it is. Real nice and flush to the body. And that way you get this real cool racing kind of like tire pokage here that I know a lot of people like. So yes, we do still need the riv position points made. We do have to measure those out. That is going to start this weekend or very soon in these next few days. And there might be some extra little surprises and accessories that we're going to add, of course, to the kit. And of course, those will be talked about and revealed as time comes along. But all in all, it's very cool. The line comes up real nice and sharp, real solid, very aggressive, and overall, it just has a real nice feel to it. So my poor car is all in pieces and really nice and dirty. So all in all, that's how it looks. So yeah, of course, right now I can't drop the car just yet. In drying phase, we do have to have this piece of fleece down here. and that gets cut out after a while or later, once it's all like hardened to the way I need it or want it. And once it is hardened, I cut out the section that I need cut out, so that way we can go ahead and drop the car, because remember, this tire's been pushed out 2.5 inches, and there's 2.5 inches of body under there. So of course that has to get cut out, and then I'll be able to tuck that tire, because you know I love that flush tucked stance look. But you see how a 9.5 plus 20 offset and a 2.5 inch spacer will pretty much put you flush right on it with the kit. Now of course you could run, according to this look, you could run a stretch tire. This one's slightly stretched. This is a 215/45 18. Now I would, on my other wheels, it's a 40 instead of a 45. And that just gave it a hair more of a stretch, and it gave you more wiggle room. But at least you know that with the lip here that we're gonna have on the flare, you'll have enough wiggle room with a 215/45 if you have these rim and tire specs. So you see there, perfectly flushed. And of course, once it's dropped, it's gonna look even cooler. So what are we doing next? So now, like this one eventually, on the bumper caps, I've got to actually sand down the surface and throw some putty on them. So I'm going to do that tonight. It is already 11:47 at night. So I'm going to get that on. Orlando comes in tomorrow, and he will start doing the sanding of those bumper caps. And so all right, so here we are in the shop. It's very humid today, so we didn't get to sand as much as we'd like. Front flares pretty much said and done as far as shaping. Now we just have to go and take the time to sand them down, get them real nice and smooth. The cool, fun, and exciting part is right here. So we had to make our shape pretty much. We took the time to, like, of course, tape up the entire car, make the skin, and then come up with their shape. And so what I did was this rendering right here, and then pretty much go and replicate it, but onto the car instead of just on the computer. Now we did have a shape before. Let me show you the differences. First OG one. Of course, this is the driver's side with the gas tank. Now this is where we've taken the original Rocket Bunny kit that I was working with, or the replica of the Rocket Bunny kit I was working with, and I kind of worked off the shape, but changed it in the front. In the rear, I added and extended, I made the gas tank, all that good jazz. And then eventually, which I never really showed anybody, I actually extended this part out because the kit originally stopped right here, and of course it came this much shorter. And I extended it out this far out, and I rounded and followed body lines here. And then decided we wanted to go with this, where you can kind of see it has the indentation of the car, because the car actually has an indentation right here by the door. And but when we were working at it, it just wasn't coming right, and it just didn't look like it fit the car the way I really envisioned it. So Orlando and I came, and there's the one on the rendering, so you can see the difference. Let me zoom out here. So there's the difference. Just feel like this one matches the car a whole lot better than that one. So now it's time to get framing. So we already drew our lines where we want the frame, where we want our arch, all that fancy jazz. So now it's time to get out of the shop, get into the house, and get all that woodwork done.